It never fails. Yesterday, I spoke to a prospect who said, we're happy with one region of one cloud. The cloud never fails. And I said, every time somebody says that, sure enough, something fails. And of course, yesterday, I'm sure many of you know, unless you've been under a rock, that Azure had a major outage, and it took down airlines, it took down banks, and it took down CrowdStrike, affecting individual users and or organizations and institutions. We built control plane exactly for that reason. There is no region, no cloud that can never fail. And if you want a system that never fails, have redundancies. That's what God did with 2 eyes and 2 ears, and that's what airlines do with 2 engines and 2 systems. We give you high availability through redundancy, and I'll demonstrate right now. I'll create a short demo just to illustrate the point. In control plane, you create what we call the global virtual cloud. So I'll call it no downtime cloud. You create as many clouds as you'd like, and you can choose from regions that you decide to enable. You can enable hundreds of regions. I'm going to enable Frankfurt. I'm going to enable Ohio and Oregon on Amazon, and I can add Azure, and I'm not going to use Azure Central because who knows if they're back up. And I can add them, it doesn't matter. And I can add, let's say, GCP. And now that I have a multi-cloud global virtual cloud made up of these locations, anything I deploy to that cloud will serve traffic from the nearest healthy cluster. Healthy means if Azure Central goes down or Amazon US East goes down, your customers are not affected in the least. That's the beauty of the virtual cloud, combining the strength of the various clouds to assure no interruption in service. So let me create a workload. I'll call it, I don't know, video game. And I'll give it an image that I put in Docker Hub, Docker Hub, and I'll deploy it. I'm going to make it allowed to be accessed from the internet. And that's how hard it is to deploy an application. Now, if you want a more complex application communicating over gRPC and having mutual TLS between services and using databases and using persistent storage, it's all supported. Control plane virtualizes the cloud, reducing the cognitive load engineers have to endure creating subnet groups, security groups, load balancers, Kubernetes brain nodes, Kubernetes worker nodes, Istio service mesh, Knative if you want to scale to 0. The amount of rigor and the amount of stuff that you need to stitch together to achieve cloud native maturity is astronomical. And even then, you're on a single cloud subject to the failures of what we saw yesterday. On control plane, you achieve the cloud native maturity of a company like Netflix on day 1, and it takes you seconds to deploy your applications with confidence they're not going to go down. So I'm going to go and simply navigate to the application I just deployed, and I can enjoy my application. Of course, that's a silly app, but regardless of how complex or not complex your application is, control plane reduces your cognitive load, increasing your availability, making your cost and reliability and security and compliance much, much, much better, where we guarantee 5 nines of availability. And certainly when you go on a single region of a single cloud, you're not going to be anywhere near that level of availability. So contact us on controlplane.com or ping me directly on LinkedIn. I'm happy to talk to you, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.